to Sports Science. Today we'll be analyzing Hamidou Diallo, a 6'5" shooting guard for the Oklahoma City Thunder. On Wednesday night in a game against the Golden State Warriors, Hamidou Diallo suffered a scary fall against opponent Jonas Jerebko. In the fourth quarter, they both went up for a rebound and they both came crashing down.
So from the outside, it appeared to be a very gruesome injury, as his improper landing led to his leg being unnaturally bent under the opposing player. This was solidified when Diallo crawled off the court, clearly experiencing severe pain. The team doctors acted immediately and took scans and x-rays of the injury to assess it. Many of his teammates were filled with the initial concern that it could have been very serious, such as a severe knee injury or a broken leg, but thankfully they were mistaken.
As shown in the video, Diallo jumps about 2 feet in the air and is airborne for about 0.7 seconds. Given these numbers, when he lands with about 880 newtons of force at a velocity of 3.43 meters per second. With these statistics, it is pretty clear to see that this amount of force could easily not only sprain an ankle, but break an ankle, and he should be considered lucky that he did not have a worse injury than he did. Thankfully, after the examination of the injury, it was determined that the injury that Hamidou Diallo suffered was not nearly as severe as it may appear on the court. After a mere ankle sprain, it was determined that he would not require surgery and would just need to rest off the court. It also may have occurred that he would require a boot in order to maintain the process of his healing properly. As long as Hamidou Diallo was able to maintain rest, ice, compression, and elevation while off the court, it was presumed that he would be able to return to the court in approximately 3 weeks. Now we move on to an interview with medical trainer specialist, Trainer Jen.
What steps would you take in healing an ankle sprain?
So ankle sprains have various degrees of injury, so a grade 1, a grade 2, a grade 3. But a typical ankle sprain it's an overstretching of ligaments, right? So your ligaments aren't like rubber bands where after you stretch them, they go back and they tighten up. So you really want to tighten the whole complex around it. So we do 4-way ankle TheraBand exercises. We do balancing to react your proprioceptors again. So, like within the ankle joint space, our proprioceptors that know where they are in space, so you have to retrain them. And we do a lot of heel raises, stuff like that.
And how would you go about preventing an ankle sprain, especially for basketball players?
So we do those same exercises that we spoke about, but then we move that towards our sport-specific stuff. So we do sport-specific drills, a lot of one-legged balance type drills, maybe with a ball to include some basketball type movements in there. We do a lot of one-legged stuff because with basketball you're typically a lot on your toes and on one leg.
How long would you advise an athlete to stay off the court with this injury?
So ankle sprains again are very athlete specific. Some heal quicker than others, just like every other injury. But it's typical to get your ankle nice and strong after you've had an injury. You're at least looking about like 4 to 6 weeks.
So do you think this will impact Diallo's future career?
It's hard to say for sure because I don't know the specifics of his injury. But I suspect that his athletic trainers are going to strengthen him up. They're going to do a lot of rehab to get him there, but an ankle or injury really shouldn't prohibit you from playing again, so no.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching Sports Science. We'll see you next week.